Curtis A reached out to me, said make a theme song for my show. Said alright, just give me all the details, man. And my homie says he don't know. Well, if you're gonna pay me big bucks, cause I might should have something to say. He said, you know what I bring, I'm the customizing king, nothing else matters anyway. So is he gonna have guests? I don't know. Is he gonna go live? I don't know. What time will it be? What will you see? I'm pretty much in the dark, but I can guarantee he'll be customizing action figures, getting paint all on his fingers. It's art by Akerman. It's art by Akerman. Tips and tricks and conversation, sharing his gift with every nation. It's art by Akerman. Art by Akerman. You best get ready, cause now it's time for Art by Akerman.
All right, welcome back, folks, to another How'd They Do That? This is the series where we talk to different artists in the community about what they create. So we've talked to some photographers and painters and dio makers and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of get some whether it's tips from them or encouragement to help you folks out there either get started or continue on your journey of kind of playing with your toys and having fun. So today we have a very special guest here. This is somebody, I do a show on Sundays with Jesse, the Shooting the Shelf, and we have a segment called Shelf Selections where we select photos from Instagram that we see each week. And this gentleman has appeared on that many, many times because he puts some stuff together that is just fantastic. Mostly popping and swapping. There's a few things where I've seen some stuff added to it, but mostly just popping and swapping Four Horsemen figures. So excited to get into this and kind of pick his brain a little bit. So welcome, Mavrik Rqutek. Mavrik,
what's going on? How you doing?
It's good to have you, man. I'm really excited for this one.
I'm honored to be here in this time and space with you. Be able to share this moment.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. This is, it's one thing to be able to create, creations when you're adding 3D parts and you're painting and you're doing all these things to really transform something. But when you're just like popping and swapping parts to come up with something that people are like, wow, I never would have thought of that. It's not easy. And you seem to do it very seamlessly. So how you got into this? Like what was the key?
Well, I look at it like this. It seems like it's easy, and I surprise myself sometimes when I come up with stuff, and it's like, and I'm kind of my own biggest fan because I spend a lot of time on my own gram, just like, dude, look at this, I made that, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
so it wouldn't happen without, of course, I'm doing mostly Mythic Legions, Cosmic Legions, pop and swap, so it wouldn't happen without the amazing work of the Four Horsemen, and they make it so easy with the form factor and the swappability and everything. It's easy to just spitball ideas and throw different things together and arrive at a final product that's just top level. It's like a thing.
Yeah, I'm still amazed that there's people that, maybe they've heard of the Horsemen, they've heard of Mythic Legion stuff, but they still have no idea like the swappability of it and how modular these things are.
Exactly.
And I think, things like your Instagram really help to illustrate that, because you see, like, just like you said, if you look down your Instagram and if the creations that you made was its own product line, I think that would be a very successful product line, right?
I like that.
There's been numerous things that I've seen of yours where I'm like, man, I gotta now grab all 3 or 4 or 5 of those figures that I see mixed in.
And that's kind of a lot of what drives me is like, you put something together and it's like I'll sit on it for a couple of days and stick it on the shelf. Maybe I'll add one thing, take one thing out, but once I post it and folks are like, oh, I gotta make one of those. That's like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was watching Jeremy's last Mythic Conversations. Shout out to Jeremy Gerard, one of the goats of the game, right? He was saying, you know what, to spend so much time creating and then for people to want a piece of that creativity is something that's so great. And I agree, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So be able to help people find joy, or, you know, to explore their creativity and get inspired, whether you say, you know what, I want to do a 1-for-1 recreation of that pop and swap, or it's like, hey, I didn't know that piece went with that piece in that way. I want to try that, and then you come up with your own design. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's kind of recapturing that feeling that we had as kids, right? Like we used to have imagine these like great big battles, and we would play
Exactly.
them out in our front yard or whatever. And while we may not be kind of smashing figures together anymore out in the front yard, it's still using that imagination, right? And unlocking something in our brain to where we're still having fun with these things.
Man, and every day is like we're bound by the rules of what is actually, you know, can take place. And then at this point, when I'm able to get a figure in my hand, or two figures, and make something out of it, and it's like, you know, no rules apply. You know, the only rule is what are the limits of your imagination.
And I think this, the Four Horsemen stuff is so conducive to that, because it's not like locked into lore that we know from the last 40 years, right? It's not like, you know, if you were to pick up a Batman and a Superman character and you were to mix and match them together, like people would just go, well, that's a mix of Batman and Superman. It's not its own creation, right? With this, because the lore exists, but it's not like locked into where you have to follow it, it kind of allows this freedom a little bit.
And I agree with that, because in reality, I didn't get into the high fantasy and cosmic and futures figure stuff like this until I found Four Horsemen. So I wasn't a D&D fan. You know, I didn't do any of that stuff. I did collect some things here and there, you know, some McFarlane that I'm kind of, you know, stepping out of, because I'm like all in on the Four Horsemen kind of stuff. So yeah, but once not being bound by the, you know, oh, this already exists or doesn't exist, it's kind of like a big part of the way I'm able to develop some things. It's like, you know what, who says it can't be? You know what I mean? So.
Absolutely. Well, I know we've already talked about your Instagram. I'm going to pull that banner up here at the bottom. So for anybody that's not following Mavrik already, it's Mavriksphantasmagoria on Instagram. And if you haven't been following this before, trust me, you want to follow this one, because he's got some amazing stuff out there. So we're going to go ahead and pull up the slideshow and just get right into it. So first off, I always start off with one that just blew me away, right? Okay. Whenever I have somebody on here, I like try to find that one photo that I'm like, this is going to pull people in because it's so amazing. And I had to start with this one because you do a lot of, more than I see other people do, of mixing cosmic and mythic together, right?
That's the best stuff. The cosmic, this is cosmythical stuff.
Yeah. And I actually, for the first, so this is the thumbnail, but when we go to the first slide, I put these two together because I feel like they're very similar in the fact that they're using that same kind of ox crew body, but then you've mixed them with mythic parts to create these things that just look amazing. So yeah, tell me a little bit about what's going on with these guys.
So the guy on the left here, the full, it's basically a Warhammer inspiration,
right?
You know, so if you look on my Instagram, I had a previous one with, I switched the Duban head onto the Velok body, the new ox crew body, and it was like, oh yeah, I gotta flesh this out. So added his cape, did the hammer, added the electrical effect from the Poxis. I think it was Poxis. Yeah, pop from the Poxis wave. So you know, and then I, you know, just kept swapping because it's such new stuff, and you know, that wave just dropped. I was just like, oh yeah, I got to keep going. So this was one of the outcomes of that. I knew I wanted to do another hooded character, so Duban has the molded hood. So I decided I wanted to do a soft good hood. So I took the hood from I think that one is from Skullman. It's either Skullman or Headhunter.
I think it might be Headhunter. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So from Headhunter, and then the cape is from Sir Enoch. That's the new Templar guy, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, cape is from Sir Enoch, the white on the inside. So I flipped it. I think his generically is the red on the interior of the cape. So I flipped it so the red is on the outside. So the white kind of provides that, stark contrast between the blue. Got his soft goods. What else? Got the necronominous bones. So those
that was a nice touch there. Like when I saw that, I was like, oh man, he took the necronominous bones for there down the middle.
Yeah, I really like those. Those are, and I actually used those in another swap, and I used them as like a bandolier.
Oh,
so it's kind of
cool.
draped it across the torso, and then used some of the old belt pieces to kind of lock it in place in a special way. So I got some of the different accessories, accoutrements, or whatever you may say. The book and the potions and whatnot to add on there to add a little bit more flair.
What about the Atheron logo on
that's from I think Sir.
That's from Gideon, right? Or is it Gideon or is it?
I don't think it's Gideon. I think it's the blue and white. I think it's I can't remember the guy's name. I should have pulled up and that's the other thing. And I know we'll get to this, is that I almost always have the checklist open.
Oh yeah. Oh dude. I've got two tabs on my phone at all times.
Exactly.
Yeah, one that has the mythic and one that has the cosmic.
Right, of course.
But
that's just sticky tacked on.
Oh, okay,
gotcha. And I've got random wads of sticky tack everywhere. Because you might think of something that doesn't really work. You just sticky tack in place, and then also heating it up. You never know how pliable how these pieces get once you get them nice and warm, and you can mold them in a certain way. I like to at times heat the things up. So a lot of times when I'm on a serious swap tear, I'm over my kitchen stove like a short order cook, I like to say. You know what I'm saying? I got a pot of boiling water. I got a ladle. I drop those things in there for a minute or two, pop them out, and it's easy to pull apart and really get those ideas going, really quickly and frequently. So
very cool. It's Sir Adalric, by the way.
Adalric, there you go. That's the guy. Yeah. So I just sticky tack that in place. It looks good at this angle, but probably from the other side it look a little, stand out a little bit. But
how many of these actually stay in these formats and like go on your shelves?
It used to be a lot, but now I'm finding that the exploration is really what gets me. So I do have a lot. So like that Belloc body, I just stuck a Mezco.
Let me big in you here.
Yeah, a Mezco.
Oh, nice.
Baron Ben's head on. I was like, those blues are amazing, and that look is just pretty dope, right? So
yeah,
that'll stay for a little while. But yeah, those
ideas
are just.
I kind of thought the same with the blues here on the Otho, like that. Like that's got that figure in hand,
right?
And the soft goods mixed with that Velic, cosmic parts, like it totally works.
Yeah, and I was of course just like I heard Joe Vassapolo say, a lot of times when you swap it, you're just chasing the colors, right? So a lot of times if I'm not sure, color wheel. I'll pull out
big in you again. Yeah.
I pull out the color wheel and I say, okay, well, I got blues. What goes with blues? What doesn't go with blue? What's contrary? What's just the complementary, things of the triads and the trios and all that stuff.
I actually keep one here.
Yeah, that color theory is a good thing to use. So, of course, and this is a simple thing. You chase those blues. So the blue, I know I wanted to put Otho in that armor, but I know I wanted to keep some of those steel armor pieces. So I did. I think those pauldrons are also from Sir Enoch as well. And did the collar from Anubis because it has those blues, but of course the lighter tone with the light blue,
right? Which ties in not 100%, but a little bit with the axe.
Yeah, with the
Yeah,
axe, and then there's a little bit on the knee that's a lighter blue.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. When I was putting it together, it kind of looked like it kind of gave the look of like a kid's toy. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it's one of those with the larger proportions on the arms. It kind of looked like one of those you know large collector figures from
Yeah, kind of
uh,
like when I messed with
like a Sofubu type
Orvar for the
thing.
first time, I said it kind of felt like a Mega Man. Like
Yeah,
that
something
kind of,
like that.
yeah,
And
very
then,
cool.
of course, the blue from what's his name's cape? I think it's Zende's cape.
Oh yeah,
Zende,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So that blue, that was a nice addition to it as
That
well.
would actually just be a nice swap. Just the
Just
you know,
dropping the cape
Ogo
on
and
the
throwing the
alto,
Zende
yeah,
on it. Yeah,
of course. So, oh, at the same rate that Zende cape, I did split the center seam so that it separates because I know his comes to a
gotcha.
point and connects. So in
I
order to
think I
do
saw one that you did Dubon, and I was wondering, like, it's only coming out the back, and I was like, I wonder, did you separate that one too? Is there one
No,
that you?
I didn't. All I
Oh,
did
okay.
was stick the backpack peg through the neck hole so that
Ah,
it just drapes out the bottom. So from the back of that shot, you can see it's it just basically follows the form of the backpack.
gotcha.
Yeah.
We may see that one. I know I pulled up a bunch of shots.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this was the next slide I put together, and I put these two together because it felt to me like if I knew nothing about anything and I just saw these, I would think that these were two brothers that went down completely different paths in life, and
Yeah. Yeah.
one turned evil, the other one is
Yeah.
good, and now they face off against each other. Like just feels like these are polar opposites.
Right. So this is another a duo that was created. When what was that Economics Wave
Mm,
when he dropped? Yeah. So Necronominus Wave came out, and I was like, man, I'm just went on a pop and swap rampage and started making some stuff. I like that gold. I said, you know what? I think the one on the right, Gideon with the white and gold was the first one. So I said, you know what? Let me, you know, drop that some of that white from the science officer. I think it is right from
hmm
the science officer. So I dropped that together. I got the belt geez, sorry, not Skullman, but Headhunter.
Headhunter. Yeah.
Yeah, the belt from Headhunter, the little kind of soft good piece as well. Got the shins from VJ, which is also a gold.
Well,
So
you've
kind
got some
of
other soft goods in there too, right? Is it
the
not?
the cape is from Headhunter as well, I believe, and then the blue soft goods are actually his tabard pieces,
Oh,
and
okay.
they're just stuck in the armholes. They're laced into the armhole so that it kind of gives it a little bit more value uh, and a different look to accent. And then that centerpiece is from the Tusk experiment, Amazing Alien. Um, Now this cape is almost done the same way, whereas it's threaded through the pauldron hole,
Gotcha.
so it's held in place by the pauldrons and not necessarily on the figure itself. So it's not to clutter that neck area with a bunch of fabric.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then the other one on the other side.
So the one on the other side is basically taking the same kind of concept and flipping it on his head and saying, hey, what if he's a little bit more sinister? So I've got the Gideon shoes and the feet and the shins. I've got the Tusk mine worker, the alien or the bug for the legs, torso, and arms. Got
Mhm.
his belt in there. The Lee J are the bracers for the wrist, and then I've got and it's funny because when I'm just in my head, I can name all these characters, so I'm on the spot. I can't figure it out. So, and then Lithia's belt um, is reversed and flipped upside down, so it kind of gives a different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's the backside of the belt, and then the little skeleton pieces that come down the side are just routed to the back of the arms. So I think I actually modified that piece to fit a little bit better. So cut out that center separating ring so that it holds a little bit better. Got some soft goods from, I think I have the Monkey King. I think it's the waist piece, soft goods, and then the cape. I'm not sure where the cape is from. I don't remember exactly, but it is definitely a Mythic Legion. And then the pauldrons are from Gorgo, of course.
Yeah.
And then I think that head with the vampire phalanx head inserts is like, it really drives home that he's like a like a warlord almost. I think I stuck a peg from the Black Knight in the top of that head. So.
Yeah, I think those attachments to the head is really what helps transform this. Because, I mean, Gideon, if you just look at Gideon figure by itself, it is like the prototypical good guy, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
You look at him and he just screams good guy. But you just throw in those black attachments on his helmet, the phalanx on the side, and then that peg on the top, and all of a sudden that head looks quite a bit different. Like all of a sudden it has a different vibe completely.
Of course. And then I can't forget to mention the center chest piece is the fan from Waltor Cosmic. Shout out to Waltor the Mad.
There you
go. The reason I'm here, being able to contribute.
Very cool. Very cool. Here's another couple really cool creations. And when we got the bones in, all the different bones from Necronominus, people started doing some wild things.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a centaur that's mixed with, kind of human and skeleton parts. So that thing's pretty cool. And then this Turpiculi mix with the reddish armor is just fantastic. So tell me about these guys.
So the centaur, I know I wanted to do a centaur with the Conobus figure. So I was like, I don't want to stick a skeleton torso on it because it just seemed a little too frail for the mass of that horse body. And I said, you know what? I think the brute scale torsos are best suited for that, for that centaur look.
Yeah, but like Nefarious had.
Yeah, of course. We don't have any skeleton, brute scales or what have you. So I said, let me just stick a Nefarious on there. So I'd use that. I've got Tharnog, the orc, his belt piece on there. So in thinking about developing this, I was like, well, does this make sense? And I said, yeah, it makes sense because my girlfriend questioned me. She said, well, why does he have muscles and a horse body? And I said, well, maybe he was cursed. Maybe he's cursed to be assimilated in this horse, and you see the hand sticking out. So,
yeah, that got me when I saw that. I was like, oh my goodness, he's stuck. Like it just feels like there's all these souls like trapped.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
So maybe he's decaying, but at the same rate he's regenerating, and and by some stretch of magic or mystery or whatever, he's able to maintain this form where it's like he's in a constant state of decay and regeneration. So I know some people are like, well, that doesn't make sense. There's a flesh body and horse bone. I said, you know what? Guess what? I've never seen everything that ever exists in the world, so I can't say that this doesn't exist. So
right.
And my imagination, this is the perfect combination.
I think using that Maxilius back piece with the wings and the bone pieces there, and then you put in those antlers that look like bone, and then you gave them the skeletal hands. It helped to make that upper torso piece feel more skeletal like, right?
Yeah, of course. With some of those different accessory pieces, just kind of tie it all together. So with the Maxilius back piece, I used one of the cosmic. I thought I had one up here. Sorry, my desk is typically littered with parts. So
little graveyard parts.
Yeah, rattling. That's what it is. But I thought I had it. So the cosmic back piece that has the hose ports.
Okay.
I use that flipped it so the hose ports are pointing upward, and then stuck the maxillus shoulder pegs into that, and then ported the back piece into the various torso. This one is actually deconstructed a little bit because it has that silver ring over the top.
Mhm.
So I ended up breaking that when I was creating something else, and I said, I'm still going to use this. So
Oh yeah.
yeah. So if you were to try and recreate this, you would need to remove that silver ring that's by default on there.
Can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
Yeah. And then also I thought was like one of the coolest parts is that on the front under the Tharnog torso is, you see that armor piece where the arm is coming up. That's actually the back part that goes on the Conobus. It's actually, and you see all of the strapping and everything. So it's just pushed up to the front, and the legs threaded through all of that strapping that's typically draped down the back hindquarters of Conobus. And then,
I absolutely love this. If I'm not a big centaur guy. I've been very
Right,
vocal that I'm not a centaur guy, but
Right.
this is cool. And if nothing else, I'm definitely stealing that idea of putting the hands inside the torso of the Conobus, because
Yeah.
that just looks sick.
Yeah, he's just it's like, he either he assimilates those souls or whatever to maintain his at least fleshly form a little bit, or
Yeah.
whatever reason you decide, maybe you just trap some people or whatever. And then I've also got the neck piece on the underside that's kind of just friction fit in between the ribs, from the rib cage down to the hindquarters. I don't know if you caught that part either.
Very cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
And
Very cool.
and that's this guy on the right. We saw, and I'm gonna keep shouting out all the Four Horsemen royalty. We saw Bill Dorklayer create that Terpiculi with the red armor. So that's just a no brainer. Like, hey, that Terpiculi with the red is awesome. So I went ahead and did that. Worked in the evil and the good Armory Knight red armor. I've got his waist piece. What else do I have in there?
The skull spell effects coming off the
skull spell
wing.
effects from the Box's Wave with the bone wings. I did. No, Terpiculi's wings are typically just the top portion. You can see the color difference, so I added in an extra arm or leg bone so that there's a little bit more extension for those wings. And then I've got some the soft goods from Red Death. Now, typically the Red Death soft goods are all connected together. So there's three different pieces. There's the robe, there's the sash piece, and then there's the hood and the drapes that are all connected. So I have a few of those that I just kind of took apart, and I like to use that hood and drape piece on a lot of different figures. So what I did was to use that and then drape it to the back of the torso, and then kind of tie it in. And then it also, you can't see it from here from this shot, but the maxillus bone dress is on his back.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I like to work in some 1/6 pieces when they work. So this the weapons he's holding are from a 1/6 scale scorpion figure. I don't remember what brand.
Okay.
But yeah, but I thought it was a perfect addition, and I like Jeremy always does with the 1/6 is kind of what started me, looking at 1/6 stuff, because you never know the scale and how it'll work, but there's a lot of cool stuff that 1/6 has that can be interchangeable and used. So.
For sure. And I think another thing, besides these really cool swaps that you're doing and coming up with these cool creations, when you do your photography, you usually have like a really cool pose with it as well. And that's what I feel like with both of these.
Thank you.
Like it just it's a very action oriented pose on both of them.
Yeah, I'm not that great at posing. And I'm not that great at photography either, but I do like to document, what I've done. So that's another reason why some of these swaps don't really persist is that once I take the picture, I'm like, okay, I got it. I can go back and look at it at any time, So it's not like I need to have it on a shelf. The joy is the journey. You know
The
what I'm saying?
creation process.
The discovery, right? So if I'm able to create something, document, okay, I'm on to the next thing, break it down and come up with another idea, or just, put it away until some, inspiration strikes again.
And I think that's the same for a lot of painters out there too. I know, with I've talked to Emil a lot about this,
Right.
for a couple of years there, he was not selling anything. And then all of a sudden he started selling like everything. And, myself and many others that kind of started out like, hey, I'm making this for myself. But then we realize, A, we don't have enough room to keep all this shit.
Right.
And B, like you said, it's the creative process that's what we're attracted to, not necessarily having the things afterwards,
Right. Of course. Yeah. And that, when I first started collecting these things, it was like, oh yeah, I got to have every figure, and it's got to have its own spot, and it's got to be, all of the factions got to be in place and things like that. But now it's like, what, I need to create. And
yeah, exactly.
The creation is what drives the addiction.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
Well, let's take a look at these now, because
I love this guy.
These two I felt like had to go together on this slide. Just very similar kind of feeling to them, and I love both of them. Starting off with this one on the left, the mix of the Frankenstein creature parts with the Red Death, and then you got the skeletal part. Like, this just all 100% works to me. If Four Horsemen were to release this figure right now, I think people buy this in swarms.
Right. And I was happy with the result, and I was happy with the response I got in the Cabal, of course, when I posted it. When I started, I was looking at, let me just stick a Necronominus head on a Frankenstein body and see what that does.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start, looking at different pieces and how they can be added, and of course that Red Death skull stuck under that Necronominus headdress is
mm-hmm.
kind of a key part of it. And then so I worked in the Red Death loin piece and the waist piece as well. I've got Belualus armor pauldron for additional bones, and then and I was thinking, well, do you want to stick Frankenstein's hands and feet on this figure? I said, no, let's stick some bone feet and hands on that figure. And then I said, well, why does he have bone hands and feet? I said, well, and I started looking at it and say, well, look at the stitching. Is he a man, or is he a skeleton in a man suit?
Right.
So so I'm like, okay, so he's like
Men in Black. It's like,
exactly.
It's not Edgar. It's like,
exactly.
You're wearing an Edgar suit.
It's like an Edgar suit, of course. Yeah. So it's like I'm thinking he's like a cultist or something, that maybe he's wishes to be no longer a skeleton or something like that. And those torpiculi, wrist and hand wraps are kind of holding everything together. So
yeah, I like how the bracers on this too kind of cover up that transition.
Exactly.
Into the skeletal parts.
It's like it's locking everything in, either that or he's purposely separating himself from the fleshly world or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, just visually, like we talk about, sometimes if somebody's trying to paint match a head to a body, like a bare chest body, we say, well, if the head's got a beard, it's going to break it up to where you can be close. You don't have to be exact, right? And I feel like with this, like if you saw that transition of the bone to the flesh, it might be a little jarring.
Yeah,
that it's covered up by that bracer makes it feel like it just flows very nicely.
Yeah, it's a natural termination to those two things, and there's no telling what's going on in between those at that joint when you have those there.
For sure.
One thing I also did was reshape the wings of the Necronominus head so that they flare out. So
okay.
When you heat those up, I just pulled them out from under the little skeleton part, and then flared them out. And then once you heat it up, set it with cold water so it stays in place. I'm not sure if that's a permanent solution, but it's good enough for once I take the pictures. And,
yeah, I mean, it should until you heat it up
across.
again. A lot of times, if you reheat it up, it'll kind of snap back to the original. But as long as you don't heat it up again, it should stay. And man, when I saw that, I was like, this thing is just fantastic. And then the one on the right, Hera is in my top 5 favorite figures of all time. Like
me too.
I just love that character. And it feels like this is mostly her and Bastet combined.
Yep, I've got
but it totally works.
Her, Bastet, and then I'm trying to remember who the center torso is from. I think it's a goblin. King Noglin.
Oh, okay.
The centerpiece under the upper chest wraps is King Noglin's center torso. I've got Altair. Is it Altair? No. Aes Sabatian, his waist armor. So that's a cosmic piece, but the aesthetic of it is kind of more mythic to me because it's got the leather and it's kind of got a armored piece on the side. Of course, you got the Bastet neck piece. I think the front loin piece is possibly from Swig. Don't quote me on that, but it's a possibility. What else we got? Oh, we've got the Monkey King's feathers. So I've got 4 of those feathers stuck into the ponytail port of that Hera Serpent Spire head, which I thought was a really nice.
So you kind of took off that hair piece and then plugged these in its place.
Of course. Cool. And the back's all good. It's from Bastet, and then I'm trying to think what else. The snakes are from a 1/6 scale figure. I don't remember which one. So, but I thought that was just perfect. Serpent Spire needs
totally
some snakes,
works. Yeah.
Right. So I gave her 2 snakes, and then all of the diorama pieces are actually 1/6 scale stuff as well. So I think the candles are those are like chef kiss right there. The candles are from the Scarlet Witch, possibly 1/6 scale Scarlet Witch, and then the base is from another, maybe a TV League figure. But I thought that was a cool combination. And, I think it came out really great.
Yeah, this is another slide where the creations themselves are amazing, and it's stuff that I don't know that people would normally think of. Like it's just kind of out there and mix of parts, even kind of including the 1/6 stuff. But then the photography is awesome too. Like I feel like these shots, like you feel like you're there in that moment. You're like pulled right into it.
Yeah, and I'm doing all the photos right on my iPhone. Taking them. I've got set everything up on my desk. The background is literally like an insert from another figure that I had that's probably got too much wear on it now to keep using. So I use that as the background and, set up my tripod, shoot the photos, edit them right on my phone, and then drop them right on the socials. And, I think they look great.
Totally.
Yeah.
This next one is one that's kind of using a lot more of the kind of cosmic and mythic mixed together. And I felt like these both really worked. I love both of these, but that one with the Kauros with that Demistros head, I thought was absolutely brilliant. Like I would have not ever thought to put the Kauros and the Demistros head together. And then like you throw these blue parts on there that I would think would totally clash with the green, but it works, especially when that orange from the arms of that figure kind of tie in with the stripes.
Of course. Yeah. So I think this Demetros one is one of my favorites. It's like the first post that I put on Instagram for my page. So I think this was for one of those pop and swap contests. So I was going through some things, and there was another guy that used the original idea. This was actually a pivot because somebody else posted an idea that I was going to use. So I think the Operator 83 has that green
the monster
vampire face with the blue helmet. I was going to use that with the orc parts. Of course, they used it. I said, you know what, I got to pivot. I can't. That was my go-to. And from this point, this contest on, I realized, I got to have multiple ideas locked and loaded. So that's kind of how I go about it. But
I've probably seen this photo a million times. I never noticed until now the Okiedos arms coming down.
Yeah. So the Okiedos arms. I think I have the first set of arms. I don't think is Okiedos arms. The top part, is it armored or is it just the bare skeleton?
I think it's bare.
Yeah. So I've got some other skeleton 2.0 skeleton arm to start those arms off, and then I've got a couple of Okiedos arms. So 2 upper Okiedos arms, and then the lower arm, and then the hand. So just to get that such a longer
element, and it frames the cape to where it looks like it's part of the cape, like it's attached to the outside.
Right. It looks like it's and I've heard people say this looks like the quintessential 80s villain because of all the bright colors and all of that. So, and then I also kind of I actually fried my camera lens shooting this because I used a laser to light that head up a little bit. So I think I fried the sensor a little bit. Which was not good, but yeah. So that green on the Demistros head with the torso and the legs, of course, and then you gotta roll in the blue because we've seen that blue and orange in Four Horsemen stuff before with
Thygar and all that.
Thygar, even going back to Magma Core.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've got a
Power
Lords. There you go. So we've seen that orange and blue. Orange and blue again. Let's go back to the color wheel. Orange and blue are complementary colors, so that was a no-brainer.
Right.
So use that orange and blue, pulled that together. Use the blue from the Okiedos arms, blue pauldrons from what's the Motu tribute for the female Motu tribute. I can't remember her name.
Melina.
Yeah, there you go. Melina. There you go. That's the one. So use her pauldrons. I like the way the 2.0 pauldrons sit on a lot of the 1.0 bodies because of the scaling. It gives you some armor. It gives you an element to put there, but it's not like, not overbearing like a lot of the 1.0 pauldrons are.
Yeah. And then the guy on the left?
The guy on the left is basically just hey, let's see what we can do with the Vorgus Vermilius 2.0, and then work in some cosmic parts. So I took I think the hands are from Varg. The wrist wraps are from Skullman. All of the soft goods are from Skullman.
Walter chest piece.
Walter chest piece, of course, the red in the center. The wings are the old school black bone wings that we'll see a resurgence of with the Legion's Con exclusive in Scale 4. And I'm glad those are coming back. I hope they put those in more sets because I really like those. Only got a couple, and I gotta keep moving them around with each figure. Yeah, so I think the wraps hands and the feet are all from Skullman, as well as the waist piece and the belt. So and it's really just the exercise, and so you start putting things together and say, well, let's stick some Vorgus Vermilius arms on there as well, and maybe the way those colors break up or they block together don't look quite right. So I definitely wanted some of that Vorgus top, center, and then at the bottom, right? So you've got the head pauldrons are Vorgus, the white because of the face and the body, and then you've got the upper legs, which when I see people swap, a lot of times they don't go all the way like you do on your exploded reviews, right? So I like to break them all the way down. Sometimes I'm switching ankles, sometimes I'm switching upper legs. A lot of times I'll break it. Sometimes they'll only separate a figure from the pauldron, and I like to separate all the way that upper arm, that mid arm, all of that, because those connections sometimes will make a difference in the way it looks.
Well, yeah, that lighter red on the ankle ties in
Right.
what you got going on with the bracers and stuff, right? Like
Exactly.
It brings those
Exactly.
light and dark reds all together. So
Exactly. Yeah. So and I think this was an amazing piece as well. And I probably and I think I could make some changes to it, but I think it came out pretty good. And
I know you're talking about the Legion's Con exclusive with that scaphoid set.
Yeah.
Any chance that we ever see you at the table at Legion's Con showing off all your stuff?
You know what? I need to actually make it to a Legion's Con first before we talk about that. But that would be an amazing experience. I think just to be there and experience a lot of stuff firsthand. But if I do ever happen to have a substantial amount of wares to display, which I do, but again, the thing is, it's always in flux.
Right.
So if I do, I would love to have a table.
I think people would be blown away to see it in person.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, Legion's Con is one of those things that it's once you go once, you're never gonna miss again. Like you just
right.
Yeah,
and I'm it's more about I want to buy the figures. It's either right now it's either buy the figures or go to Legion's Con. So I'd rather have the figures so I can keep doing this.
There you go.
So
let's pull up the next one here. So another couple kind of cosmic-y ones that I thought were just really cool mixes here. Like some of the parts mix on these and just the way that they came out, once again, feel like fully realized characters that I could see the Four Horsemen just putting out to buy. Right. So yeah, tell us a little bit about these two.
So let's start with the one on the left. The one on the left is just basically Altor Solovia. So the one of the grays, but the one from the second wave that came out. So I used that. Used the pauldron from, and this is a full custom. This is not a pop and swap. Well, it started as a pop and swap. So I was playing around with Altor, and I said, you know what, let's see what Canuck's Bowl's neck piece looks like on that body.
Which I would think, because he's a brute scale, so I would think that wouldn't work at all. So and it looks great.
and the thing about that is that because it's a brute scale, and because Altor's body is so slim, it actually is it sat on there, and then it only has space for a pauldron on one side. So once you get a pauldron in there and you get that neck piece on there, that neck piece starts to dip to the side. So the solution is you stick a smaller 2.0 pauldron on the other side to keep that thing upright. So that was the solution there. So I painted up the Canuck's Bowl. So I basically put paint all over this whole thing, which I'm pretty proud. I'm probably the most proud of this piece because I wish you had a picture with him holding his weapon, because I handcrafted the weapon itself from a bunch of different cosmic guns itself. So cool. I think I used like 7 different cosmic weapons in order to create his sniper rifle. So I've got the Canuck's Bowl neck piece. I've got the Altar pauldron. I've got a smaller 2.0 pauldron. The Aesipitian is the pauldron, the larger pauldron. Aesipitian wrist piece, and I've actually hollowed that out so that it can be slipped over Altar's arm. Because he doesn't have armor. So the goal was to not make too many changes to the original Altar in order to use. I think it mostly started with the head, because I'm like, man, I love that grimacing look, right? But I didn't really care for the way he was fashioned. He looked a little bit too altruistic with the robes and everything. So I said, let me make this guy a little bit more menacing. So did that. There's a 2.0 waist piece, and then below the waist piece, there's a neck piece from Vorga that I cut up. So
Oh wow.
basically Vorga's neck piece. I cut the sides off, glued it to that waist piece. I've got the Aegis loin piece. And what I did was I actually sectioned it. I cut it at each plate, and then glued it to a piece of fabric so that it drapes a little bit more, because it kind of had that stiff feel where it didn't really
Right.
flow with the
Oh,
figure.
that's a really good idea.
So, yeah. So, and then, the color choices were just like, I like the blue. I think a nice deep red would go along with it. So I did some wash, I guess a non-oil wash on the original body. Then started doing some dry brushing. So basically just dry brush the whole thing. The most work on the body probably came in the way of the shins and the altar, the Canucks Vol neck piece, and trying to get those to match. But I think that it came out amazing. And then the 1/6 scale soft good is I think that was from one of the TB League Egyptian figures. I don't remember which one, but I think that was just really cool the way it's multi-strand and it's kind of flowing and looks like a really I don't know how to explain it. Just
it definitely like flows all together, and
of course,
he has this like I don't know, presence about him. Like he feels like he is some sort of leader of some sort. Like this isn't, like a worker bee. Like this is This is a guy of some sort.
Yeah, this is a guy. Either he's, and what I was thinking was more like wasteland, hunter or something like that. Yeah, and that's sniper rifle. But that's in a collector's. I sold that one off. I'm happy to have sold it. Not necessarily that I love it. I think it's great. I just hope it comes back to me at some point. Now, I have thoughts of making a companion piece of that. Not sure how I'll achieve that, but
that'd be cool.
I've been thinking about that.
And then the guy on the right.
This came about. I think I had been playing. What's the game? Sun Wukong.
Oh, okay.
Monkey King. So some of those villains in that game were like, really impressionable. So I was looking at that, like, I was using the Oleg Thaigar body, and I was like, well, how can I make this good? So started working in some of the gold pieces from, I think the shins are from Scaphoid. The loin piece is not Hadriana. What's the armored female? Averona. There you go, Averona. I've got the additional loin pieces from the Goblin King, King Noglin.
Okay.
I've got the Monkey King folds, or the waist armor. I've got Lee J pauldrons, and I think he has the Lee J bracers as well. And then the wings are from, those are just the Blue Demon wings.
Malafar.
Yeah. Actually, is it Malafar? Yeah, it is Malafar, because it has that additional third piece up there. And then I've got the Okiatos arms. What I actually did for that one, and I had that on hand, I actually cut up two back wing adapter pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So I have one that has the standard peg with the wing holes, and then I kind of grooved out and put another one on top that has the 2.0 ports on the back, so I can implement the 2.0 arms and the wings and the pauldron. So you've got three different sets of holes on the back there. So for the pauldrons, the wings.
I was kind of wondering that. I'm looking at it. I'm like, he's got pauldrons, he's got the arms, and he's got the wings. Like, where's he finding room for all this? I thought maybe you were using that Okiatos back adapter there for a second or something.
Yeah, no, that one has that 2.0 peg to the back connection, which didn't really, doesn't work. And then, of course, those are a little finicky as well. So I was like, yeah, I can't.
I love how you've incorporated the Okiedo's arms into a few of these. Like that,
Right.
I feel like that's a very underappreciated figure, and
I agree.
I
I
think it's
agree.
awesome, man. I love that figure.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. Thank you.
and the fact that you kind of made it almost like a halo for him, you know, like
Yeah. Yeah. It's
when
like
you
a,
first look at this, like you feel like that's kind of like this halo effect or whatever, and then you
right,
look at it and you're like, oh wow, those are blue skeletal arms.
yeah. And it was like, kind of thinking, well, with this guy, he kind of looks exactly like a villain or a character in that game.
Oh yeah,
Something from the East in mythology. So
for
I really
sure.
like that one as well. That's one of my favorites.
Well, I always try to end on a banger, and I feel like this is really the one that I had to end
Oh
on.
yeah, yeah. I like this one too. This is one of my favorites as well.
Because not only is this an amazing figure that you've put together, that honestly, when I looked at it, I could not even tell you what all the parts were.
Right.
But then the shot is just it's chef's kiss.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
but yeah, tell us all what we got going on in this one.
Yeah. So this one I think was probably one of the second figures that I decided to really put paint on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I started with Afarius's torso,
Mm-hmm.
and then I put that on. I think it was Atheon's. Not, is it Atheon? No, Arethyr. Sorry, Atheon is the horse.
Mm-hmm.
Arethyr's upper legs and lower legs and feet, and then of course put on the. I like that. I love that collar piece. You see that collar piece come up in a bunch of different uh, pops that I do. I love that collar piece, and then the way that works with the Praetorian pauldrons with those spikes,
Mm-hmm.
just like like right on. I think I did this right around the time when the Jacob Marley came out, and that's why that skull is on there. So I painted up that skull. I got Afarius's default bracers that I put a wash and some weathering to. Some I think I did I put some paint on basically every piece. I painted the rivets on the harness piece, and that harness piece fits best on a brute scale. I think it's perfect for a brute scale figure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, look, I mean, it fits perfectly and it looks amazing on here.
right. And then I've got I think the base diorama piece is from a 1/6 scale figure. I've got a Mezco protagonist, I guess you could say, that's in fear for his life down there with one of the expansion pack heads on it. I think that might have been a Conan that I used. And then I kind of did some of the blood effect on the back, the big guy's arms.
Yeah, the like middle of the arm down to the hands, like that
Yeah, it's
transition
just
into
like
the red looks
he's just
amazing.
like almost pasted with plasma, almost dried up, like he's been tearing
Oh
through
yeah.
some, and this is his next victim. That was just like it was. I'm really proud of that one. I mean, that was just a few accents here and there on a lot of the armor pieces, but I think it drove the whole thing together. And then the soft goods are just basically some fabric that have been cut down and tattered, and a little bit of wash here and there to give it some extra dimension. But yeah, that actually that one still lives on my shelf. I never, and the thing is, I never sealed it. I would actually sell it, but I feel like I don't want to sell it until I seal it. But seal the paints and everything,
Right.
just to protect it. But I have used that head with its paint apps on another swap, which I think I love that head. That head is probably the best part of that Jacob Marley set. That I love that piece.
Yeah, this is. I feel like when I saw this for the first time, I felt like this was the most brutal that I've ever
Right.
seen a Legion's figure. Like this.
Yeah, and that was the point.
Yeah, I mean, it just feel and especially like the way that you've got the hero line on the ground, kind of shooting a little bit almost at an upward angle to where it makes him feel super imposing.
Yeah.
and like it's almost like a big boss on a video game, right? Like you
Exactly.
get to this guy and he's like twice the size of your character, and you're just like,
Right.
I don't know how I'm gonna beat this guy down.
Right. Right.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That, and then the background is just like I think it might have been an AI generated background that I used, put up on my TV and shot. So yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that is all that we have for today. Man, I really appreciate that.
No, no,
This was a nice little.
I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate
Yeah.
you having me on, man. I was expecting to go through more. I want to talk about all of them.
Yeah,
so
it goes quick, man. I mean,
yeah,
it's amazing how fast like you get through some of it. Like all of a sudden it's at an hour. It's like, man, yeah, we could talk all day.
right,
But
right, yeah.
I know you talked a lot about color, right? And kind of like the color wheel and making sure. Any other tips that you would have for folks that are trying to get into this? Maybe they've never really swapped before. They've been collecting legions for a while, but they've never actually mixed them around. Any kind of advice that you would have for folks like that?
In a couple of my posts in the Cabal, I say, hey, steal this recipe, and I put the parts mostly on most of them, and a lot of times I don't itemize the list, but I think I do enough to point out which figures I use. So in order to get people to inspire them to go, hey, well, let me go look at this figure either on Store Horseman or Four Horsemen website on the checklist to see, okay, well, what part do you use? And of course, you can always hit me on Instagram in my DM or on Facebook or whatever and say, hey, can you give me a list, or how did you do this and do that? I say, hey, man, if you see something I do, please feel free to copy. I would love for you to take a crack at what I created and see if you can make it better, or enhance it, or even just one for one is even cool, because I think that's a cool idea. Is like I put something together that somebody else has on their shelf. I think is an awesome feeling. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of those that we showed today, and even more on your Instagram that like feel like fully realized characters, to where I could see somebody saying, I need that on my shelf, and I got to go and chase down these things. And the good thing is you don't have to, like when I first got into the game, you would see things from like Jeremy, and he would have like fodder from toy lines that don't even exist anymore.
Right.
You'd have to pay like $150 for a
figure just to get that figure, and you'd be like, well, I don't want to break
this
down
stuff
just for it.
Easily accessible, right?
Right, of course, and that's the point. And my fodder bin is deep, real talk. So I know, and one of the complaints I got when I first started posting my stuff was, that's like 7 figures, dude. How am I gonna make that?
You gotta break them apart.
Nothing is really off limits for me, because I'm like, I'm not really, like I said, I did really get started in the high fantasy lore. The figures are part of what brought me into looking into this stuff and developing these ideas. So I'm not really bound mentally by, this looks like this character.
There's no constraints.
There's no constraints. The sky is the limit. So really be happy. I think the main thing is be happy with what you create. So a lot of times we start to compare what we're creating against somebody else's work. I mean, that's fine, but be happy and confident with what you are creating, and that you're happy with what you created, and the journey that you went on to get to the final product is what's gonna sweeten it for you, and really make it enjoyable, and have you creating more and developing your talents and developing that muscle memory to make some cool stuff. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, have fun, play around, see what you can come up with.
Of course. And it's a lot of times all about perspective, so we're looking at a part, like I was watching the episode with Emil when he was talking about making that Ahsoka Tano head, where you flip that head and say, hey, wait a minute, you know what I'm saying? So
you don't have to use things the way that they're in design.
Of course. Yeah. Just because it's a neck piece on one figure doesn't mean it can't be a waist piece on another.
Right.
So we've seen that a lot. And I if I could share with you right quick,
absolutely.
I kind of did this one recently. I like to show. I haven't posted this at all. But
Ooh, yes.
This is Jersey Devil with
Heck yeah.
the gorilla skull. Those original bone wings. I've got the trapeculi bone hands.
I like the wrist wraps going into the bone hands. That looks nice.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, I thought I should. Curtis Akerman, how'd they do that exclusive?
There you go. That's
yes, sir.
Very cool.
Yes, sir.
Very
Thank
cool. I do have a couple more questions for you.
Yeah, indeed.
Number one, I know you said your fodder pretty big. How do you have your stuff organized to where you find this stuff? Like you make a figure that takes 7 figures to make, right? And then you've got all of these extra parts. So how do you try to keep things somewhat organized to where when you're looking for it the next time, you know where to find stuff?
That word, organization, I don't think I've heard that word.
It's a new one for you, huh?
No, I mean, really, I took a book out of Bill's book, Dorklear with the bags.
Clear bags, yep.
.com, the 6x9s, they're perfect for keeping everything in one place. I've got a bunch of those all over the place, and it sounds like I'm running a manufacturing plant when I'm in the process of creating. All the bags rattling and whatnot. But, that's the main thing is the bags and totes. I don't really have the space for the actual cases for these individual things. And plus, I like you saw that's like 3 or 4 different torpiculi's in one bag.
Yeah,
it pieced out. So
I kind of wish that I started out that way, because at this point I've got like 18 bins of stuff where it's like one bin is all feet, right, and one bin is all like upper legs, and so now it's like, yeah, I can go to, but I have to sort through 18 bins to find what I'm looking for, as opposed to like if there's one bag of trapeculi parts, right? I think that would be a lot easier, but I'm too far into it at this point.
That is the preferred method. I wish I had a better way, because really it's like a box or a bin, and it's like everything's just, all the bags are just dumped in there. Yeah. And whenever I go on a run for creating or swapping, I gotta pull everything out, figure out what's what, and then. But a lot of times it's like I know exactly what I'm going for and why I'm going for it. So there's that.
Like you see a piece and you know what piece should go with that.
Right. So at the same rate, store horse on 4horsemen.com for the checklist. Always have that open, and I'll open multiple tabs. So if I'm going through, if I have a figure or a piece that I'm looking to match with something, I'll go through and I'll just open a tab for that new figure, and then I'll just have a few tabs for a specific, swap that I'm going for. A few tabs going, and I'm looking through those pieces and how they might match and whatnot. I've done some Photoshop kit bashing. You know what I'm saying? I know there's people that have done Photoshop kit bashing, but I've done a couple of those, but those take too long. So I'd rather just do it, on hand. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Physically do it.
Physically do it. Work through those ideas. So yeah.
Last question I got for you, kind of a 2-part question. Give folks a figure that's out there today, like something they can go get right now that you feel like is really good for swapping, and then one that maybe you're waiting for, one that's either on pre-order or something that you're like, man, I can't wait for this one.
That's out today. I would say I love that trapeculi. The trapeculi is an amazing figure, and all of the different bones. Of course, I'm a skelly guy. I love this, but I mean, I really can't put my finger on one figure that's like you gotta have, because really you gotta have them all.
Right.
There's no way around it. No 2 ways around it. You gotta have them all, because I mean, my creativity and my imagination is I think is boundless. I like to think, and I want to be able to swap everything at any given moment. So, but a lot of the new cosmic stuff is pretty cool if you're into that. A lot of people aren't really into the cosmic, but I do like the mythic with the cosmic crossovers.
Oh yeah, the mixing the 2 parts together, you've done a really good job of making those look awesome. But what about something that's not out yet? Something that we're waiting on, that you're like, man, once I get that in hand, I'm like ready to do X, Y, or Z.
You know what? I don't really do that anymore.
Oh, really?
I used to think about what might happen, like the figures are coming up, or I have an idea already.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped doing that. I'd like to get back to doing that, but I don't feel like I don't have that inspiration. It's once I get them in hand and I'm looking at the way these things work together.
You're playing around with them, messing around.
Messing around with them, moving parts and things like that. That's when the inspiration strikes for me.
Yeah.
And it could be because I've been at it for so long, but yeah, it's when the figures are in hand that really does it for me. So
that's interesting, because I was talking to a photographer last week, talking to Alex Lostic, and he said something very similar. He said, like, he gets a figure in hand and he'll have it on his desk for like almost a week, just like playing around with it before he decides how he wants to photograph it. Like he has to get to know the figure first.
Exactly, because they have personalities, right? So
yeah.
So a lot of the parts have personalities, whether it be the color, the patina, the finish on them, the way they sit on a figure, the way they interact with other pieces. I mean, that these new pieces.
That character right there, that's a good one right now. That Urzak.
Yeah. Real talk. Okay, so let's say that Urzak. I know it's kind of hard to get, and it's in the pre-order phase right now. But if you can get one, because the new head sculpt. Are you seeing the waist piece? I
love the details on the armor, like just
details
the
on the armor
on it is so good. Yeah,
real talk. I really love that harness piece is a nice new addition. That's a good crossover piece to use. That waist piece with the skull, man, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then not to mention the weapons he comes with.
Oh yeah, like that sword is just like one of the most brutal weapons they got.
Those swords are pretty amazing.
I could see that big guy that you were talking about with the Jacob Marley head. I could see him wielding that big old.
Yeah, he would definitely have one of those swords or that axe for sure.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that and then in terms of new stuff, I like to keep my eye on the new stuff, but I don't really like to make decisions about things until I actually have them in hand.
That totally makes sense.
Till they really impress on me, what they're meant to be doing, I guess you could
Absolutely.
say. Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you being on.
For sure.
Go ahead and put you backstage and close out the show. If you have to run, I totally understand. If not, hang out and I'll be with you in a second.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Well, folks, that was Mavrik. And man, his stuff is just fantastic. So check out that Instagram right here, Mavrik on Instagram. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. It is one of the best Instagrams going. Few things we picked up there, play with your toys, have fun, enjoy them, get to know them, look at colors, use that color wheel, right? Just pull up that color wheel. There's a lot of things out there to show you kind of how to utilize a color wheel and see what things go together. And I would say if you've never swapped before and you're like, I don't even know how to get started in this. One thing that I will recommend, and I've recommended this for years, is grab one of the Legion's Con exclusive figures. Like Jeremy does a really good job of each year when he puts those sets together. He throws in a whole bunch of extra parts. So it's kind of like a ready-made package, that's already got, different torsos or different arms or legs or weapons or whatever to swap together, and it can get you in that mood. So, even if you've never bought a Legion's figure before, get one of those Legion's Con exclusives. You won't regret it. It's a good way to get started in that. And then, check out this Instagram that we've been talking about and see if something strikes you. And if it does, you can go ahead and remake it. Like, he's got all the recipes in there. He's got all the, the information, and you can just create those as well. So, but play with your toys, have fun. And until next time, keep creating, folks.